back at it with Genshin news. We've got level up day, emoji, fire, strong. Okay, oomphs in the quotes gushing over the art. I need y'all to know this artist is notorious in JP Automé and art circles for being a tracer and a thief. Serious. Wait, what's NM? Does that mean never mind? So wait, never mind serious? So this is a joke? I don't know. Let's continue. By the way, the initial tweet collecting over 5,000 likes and over 500,000 Twitter views. The artist is Hanamura Mai, who was called out back in 2019/2020 for tracing another anime artist's work and using them for game CGS and visuals for 4 years. Exposed thread, more about Hanami back in 2020. Muting this now. Also, this shouldn't have to be said, but don't support art thieves just because they drew your faith anime, boy. Nah, screw that. You draw Venti, I'm going to support you for life no matter what you do. That's a joke, okay? Okay. Before someone else goes, how do you know it's traced? In my mentions, read this reply, please, and thank you, lol. Should we read the 2020 thing or this first? Let's read this first. Let me backtrack and explain why exactly I think the Ayato art is traced. Wait, you think? You don't know? For a tiny bit of context, back in 2020 when Hanami was accused of tracing, she was taken to court and asked to produce a solid drawing in front of lawyers. No way. Is that true? Where's the freaking... There's got to be like legal documents or something about that. That would make this so much more interesting if we had like a legal document of that. Could you imagine that? She was unable to do so, or at least she was unable to produce a drawing at the same quality as the work. To be fair, it's probably a bit stressful having to do a recreation in court while everyone's watching you. If this is even true. I'm not trying to defend an art tracer. I'm just like... So far, there hasn't been evidence of it. It might be in the 2020 thing. We'll take a look. As the work she put out for CXM and other automatic games she worked on, this is important. Another thing to note is many fans who've revisited her work after the scandal broke out noticed she has a very shaky knowledge of anatomy at best. I mean, this whole accusation is really shaky at best, though, and that's being generous. So far, again, we'll take a look at the 2020 thing. One of the illustrations she made for B's Log magazine went viral because the character she had... Okay, look, are you going to include it? I'm not going to read a bunch of text. You got any, like, evidence? Is there any, like, screenshots here or anything? Like, what is all this, man? It's a bunch of text. Come on now. Finally. What's this? Copied from one pose, and his arms are from an entirely different pose. When drawn together, it makes no sense because there is no natural line of action. And poor Ayato ends up having to use his sword like a club because his arms are broken. The other weird thing about this art... Wait, this isn't a tracing analysis, though. You're just saying that the art's bad? Right? This is why I don't like... This is why Twitter threads are, like, ridiculous, dude. It's so clunky. It's all divided apart. Like, what are they even getting at? Is the composition. I actually went and checked the other birthday illustrations and even dynamic poses like Xinyan and Yula, where their torsos are tilted. They don't give the feeling that they're off balance to the viewer and show the full bodies with all the limbs. Okay. I don't understand the point being made here. Show solid weight in the figure. By contrast, Ayato's illustration has been drawn in such a way that the composition of the image actually hides the body and the mistakes by the artist between the... Okay, so you're just criticizing the artist now, like bad anatomy. This isn't about the tracing thing, right? Oh, hold on. Lead me to believe that yes, Hanami actually did trace his drawing from someone plus else's work. I don't have the time to sit and sort through every JP artist Hanami could have possibly traced from to find out what the original images are, and given her previous lack of remorse over her faults, I can say with full confidence that the image is traced and stolen art. But you didn't really say that. Like, at first you said, I think, and then you were like, I believe, and now you're saying with full confidence it is. So, like, pick one. Which one is it? Here's the thread from 2020. It's actually a lot briefer than what we just went over. Let's check it out. So I was told that there was a scandal in the Otome game world again, and when I looked into it with my informant, like this is the freaking MI6 over here or something. Okay, guys. Basically, in December last year, Yuga Satoru, Psychedelica series, put up a blog post detailing their art being traced / pulled apart, being used as a base by someone H. And that this has been happening for the last 4 years as of 2019. Then on the 13th of March 2020, Yuga tweeted about the ordeal, mentioning that an item from the past filled with dissatisfying feelings was released yesterday. The Caller X Malice port was released on the 12th. In a follow-up tweet, Yuga mentions that the tracer, true to their word, is still tracing as long as they don't get orders to do so otherwise, and that they should stop using the icon that they traced of Jed, and well, look for yourself. I'm not an artist. I really don't know. It's like a similar way they're looking and stuff, but that's not enough to say this is traced, is it? Again, I'm not an artist. I really don't know. Artists in the comments, let me know what you think. Is this enough to say it's traced? Because to me, in my untrained eye, this just looks like similar, but I guess this is supposed to be the trace evidence, right? Like overlaying one over the next, but like this does look a lot more similar when it's paired up like that. But again, it's just like they're just looking a certain way. I don't know, man. I don't know. In the end, Yuga says that it's also the employer's responsibility to fix these behaviors, but as long as they refuse to, it'll just lead to other problems. I think this is directed at Anime and also explain why there have been, why there oh my gosh, this sentence is just messed up. My apologies, guys. It's messed up. I'll read it the way it says. I think this is directed at Automate and also explain why there have been any new additions to the Psychedelica series. Yuga hasn't said it is Hanamura, but it also explains why her art style has drastically changed overnight. So it's time to think twice about what kind of attitudes you want to support. Also, my informant. Oh, he's just outed the informant. What? Also, my bad. Psychedelica, not psychedelica. The freaking sentence is messed up and the word is weird. Anyways, moving on. So despite the fact that the initial tweet claiming this is traced got 5,000 likes, you could see that the other tweets made afterwards by the OP literally had like 2 likes. So I don't know. It seems like people liked the initial tweet just cause, and then when the evidence was posted, like more of it, people were like not convinced. But I wonder why they even liked this one to begin with then at that point. But you know, it's Twitter. Hoodart saying, thanks for the explanation, but is the artist still doing that or have they stopped? If they stopped, then I see no reason why people can't gush over the art, especially if it's not stolen or traced. Level Up Day's response, I see no reason why people have to praise a known art thief just because they drew your favorite pixel boy. Why are you so comfortable with letting a known tracer resurface into your community? Because they did good, responds Buldrew. What does good art have to do with it? Level Up Day, good art that's likely stolen and traced. Okay. Zern saying, do you have proof that this specific art was traced? Tracing and stealing is awful, but if it was done in their past and they haven't done it again, I don't think they should be demonized. People are allowed to change. Level Up Day's response, the fact that I can take a 5-minute scroll through her Twitter media tab and none of the art posted has the same anatomy, line work, or style should be indication enough she's still not doing her own art. Do you really think someone who was tracing for 5 years would stop? Zern saying, I asked if you have proof that this piece was traced. Like, do you have an original work that is the same as this one to prove it other than just accusations? Level Up Day, you know, let me ask you the same thing. Wait, what? That's not how this works, but okay, let's keep reading. Can you prove to me that it wasn't traced? Because I have a history of the artist being a thief and an inconsistency with their other displayed work, which is 2 more pieces of evidence than you currently do. I'm not pulling accusations out of nowhere. Zern says, the burden of proof lies on the accuser. If you can't provide that proof, that's on you. Level Up Day, saying, okay, I feel like I got way too panicked and aggressive in this discussion because so many people were all of a sudden saying I was falsely dragging an artist for a past mistake when they might have changed and took that aggression out on you. For that, I apologize sincerely. Adding, second, let me backtrack and explain why exactly I think the Ayato art is traced. For a bit of context, back in 2020 when Hami was accused of tracing. So this all goes back to what we read already. We already went through the rest of it here. And again, like I mentioned, you can see these tweets like got literally like 2 likes. Seems like people aren't really convinced by this. In conclusion, you're welcome to think what you want about this topic. Personally, for me, I'm not really convinced. The lack of evidence is pretty overwhelming on this one, in my opinion at least. But again, you're welcome to disagree with me. And I'd like to apologize one more time. I apologized a couple times for my speech in this video, like grammar errors or whatever. And this apology is simply because this segment felt clunky. If it was kind of clunky or hard to follow along, my apologies. I didn't really anticipate that when I went through the news, went through it real time with you guys. Sometimes that's just how it is. But I hope you managed to enjoy this on some level. I was going to say like somehow on some level. And we'll leave it there for today, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. I look forward to seeing you there. And of course, we got more segments coming up on the way tomorrow. See you then.